GM. Today is not a tech talk. I just ready, and it's because I'm not going to be presenting Web3 as a technology. And that's because I don't view it that way. And I'll explain to you why and how we really started our journey as an organization into what we're calling the open metaverse. I view Web3 as an underlying set of principles, as updated values. And my career, spanning over 18 plus years, has been studying Gen Z and youth culture through all of the macro and microeconomic shifts. One thing that I have learned, if you're going to be a brand that's relevant in this next generation, you need to have updated values, and then how you act on those values needs to change. So I'm going to share a bit about why we went in, what we've done as a brand, and what we've learned along the journey. Because I think it's very important, if you're working in this space, to share the learnings as you're going on this journey. Because again, one of the core values of Web3 is decentralization. And if we're going to bring everyone on this journey, we need to teach you all how we've gone from not going to make it to we're all going to make it. So here's an awesome headshot of me. I'm Erika Wykes. When I joined Adidas 3 years ago, I was the Chief Marketing Officer of Adidas Originals, which is the lifestyle pillar of the Adidas brand. I say Adidas because I'm from California. Sometimes I say Adidas because now I live in Germany. But that's a bit about me. When I joined, I became the founder of the Adidas Web3 and Metaverse Task Force. Yes, you can be a founder in a 75-year-old company. I helped create and scale the Web3 flywheel for the most iconic sports lifestyle brand, just by posing the question, what should Adidas do on blockchain? What is this new revolutionary technology? How should a brand like ours take advantage of it? Are there opportunities for us to make money? Is it just going to be a marketing vehicle and an engagement tool? I posed that question, and then I've stuck around a few years to figure it out, and now I'm leading the whole initiative for the organization. And it was in this role and in this time when I was at Adidas Originals, also doing a very important body of work. When I joined the company, we were a very heavy number 2 in our category. There's a very, very well-known number 1 in our category, and they do like to call themselves a digital company or a technology company. I knew that that wasn't Adidas. But I knew that our competitive advantage that makes us unique as a brand is culture, and that we have been pioneering in culture for 50 years, and that is through the lifestyle pillar of Originals. So what I did was commission a global study, an ethnography. We went to every single one of the 15 key cities in the world. We talked to hundreds and hundreds of influencers and influential people. And I don't mean the Kim Kardashians of the world. I mean the entrepreneurs, the creators, the artists, the subversive artists, people that are living at the edge of culture and creating the things that we talk about, maybe in the dark channels, over drinks at a bar, things that are like really asking us to question, what are we doing in this world? Why are we here? What are the things about? What are the interests and causes that we care about? And it was in this role that I got deep into the Web3 rabbit hole, and I feel like that's a moniker that sticks. So with that said, we were one of the very first brands, and we were a non-tech brand to enter Web3 back in December 2021, 2 weeks after Facebook Blue changed their name to Meta. So we were very early. We didn't do it through an acquisition. We did it by building slowly and methodically and taking this big organization on this journey with us over the course of 9 months. Let's watch the video that launched this mad journey.
I see trees of green, I see the blue, and I think to myself, what a wonderful.
So when we dropped this video just hours after getting the rights to use that iconic song, it really sparked a moment in digital culture. Because all of a sudden, here was the Three Stripes brand collaborating with the Bored Ape Yacht Club, G Money, the Punks Comics, and where are we going on this journey? But we're using this word metaverse for the first time that no other real lifestyle brand had done. One of the most fascinating stats after this is that in December, right after we dropped this video, of all of the Google search volume searching around the word metaverse, Adidas captured 10% in our largest market in North America, which as a marketer and someone who looks at media data, that is unusually unheard of and a staggering number. Sometimes we always put on the last slide, what was the big accomplishment? I'm just gonna tell you up front. This launch created a tidal wave in popular culture, and it ended up being the #1 most iconic hype drop of all time. It received more media mentions than the 2017 Louis Vuitton and Supreme collaboration. Since then, we now have our own business unit with its own P&L that's operating full-time within Adidas. And there's been some things that we've done along this timeline and along this journey. At the time, when we went into the metaverse, we partnered with the Bored Ape Yacht Club, who is now Yuga Labs. It's over a $450 million valuated company building a metaverse gaming ecosystem. We partnered with Punks Comics, who's known as the Marvel of the Metaverse, and they have gone on, and they're also building a new brawler game and have plans. What they're unveiling is a community co-owned gaming ecosystem. We partnered with G-Money, who is now the founder of the luxury brand 90cc, and he's an iconic staple you see at the red carpets of fashion weeks at the likes of Prada and many other fashion labels. We have amazing partnerships, and we do bring along with us Web3 startups, so Token Proof, Fireblocks. We're working with MoonPay, just a few, but these are companies that know how to work with us, have governance, have security, and also can reach the scale we do because the community of 20,000 is in 137 countries. We've conducted the world's largest airdrop by volume when we launched our first ever virtual gear collection of 16 hoodies. I'll show you those in a minute. We've also launched a new identity project that's connected to Adidas's membership platform called Adi Club. It's called Alts by Adidas, and we've been on that journey this last year, and if you are an NFT holder, thank you. It's great to see you, and it's great to have you with us. But also since then, the broader crypto and blockchain conversation has evolved, right? We've just seen FTX and that whole debacle, and Sam Bankman-Fried going to jail, which seems like forever. We've seen the crypto market get somewhat convoluted within the NFT market, and therefore trading volume is probably at the lowest volume it's ever been. We've seen a lot of cash grabs and grifters along the way, but I think because the market's not attracted to them anymore, it's great for those of us who have the updated values because those have since gone away. People are more skeptical. It's also forced a lot of the startups and companies building technologies to be more thoughtful and to make sure that they're building for the broader use case and not just for the narrow-minded niche. And I think we've seen the first hype cycle, which really disrupted art. And I think we're now going to be watching that move into music, gaming, and immersive entertainment is up next. And you've seen little bits and glimmers of these closed ecosystems start to open up with the announcement of platforms like Epic making Fortnite more available to creators in a creator economy, and Roblox, they're going to be betting the whole farm on that business model. So we've done a lot. And we're not a tech company, and we don't try to be. What we're trying to be is the most credible and culturally credible brand in Web3. And to build credibly, you need to make sure your approach is not a launch and leave. And a lot of brands have done that, but we did not. And we knew that is the way to survive hype cycles. Because what brand knows hype cycles better than the brand who's perfected collaborations and perfected the hype drop? A brand's ability to connect their business objectives to their core offering and live those values and first principles is what we believe is going to separate those that are not going to make it from the ones who are going to continue to make it. And just like anything in life, you want to be on the side of WAGMI. So who do we do it for? And I think it's important to put this slide back up because even when I give any type of talk, I always want to reference again, who are we doing this for? And this hasn't changed. Our consumer at the end of the day is that we're trying to sell culture to the premium streetwear consumer who wants this idea of new luxury. And that means it's all about being part of these niche communities that are in the know, the if you know crowd. And sometimes that can mean leaving folks on the sidelines because they're not going to make it. Well, if you understand Web3, then you know it's important that you want to get into the game, you need to get off the sidelines, you need to roll up your sleeves, you need to build yourself. You need to go down the rabbit hole yourself. You need to be self-educated. And self-education and being self-taught is something that is a core inherent value and skill of the Gen Z digital native. Over 85% say their future is determined by choices that they're going to make and things that they can control. 87% say that their digital identities are becoming more important than their offline identities. And that is proven by some recent Roblox data where over 65% care more about styling their digital persona than thinking about what they're going to wear in the real world. 7 out of 10 Gen Zs and millennials were interested in the metaverse, and this is back in 2021, where 38% said they think it's going to become part of their everyday life. Now, over half of people's purchase journeys, which influences what they're going to buy and when, is moving online, and that's also where they're seeking inspiration and inspiring others. And I don't know if you've been watching the fashion runways last year, but a lot of what walked down Paris and Milan was heavily influenced by the style and the colors that are coming out of the metaverse, including this track jacket. All of these values that we've identified, and this took hundreds of interviews and slide decks that probably have thousands of slides sitting on Microsoft servers somewhere, we boiled it down into one. What is on the bottom here on the slide are the values that mattered the most to Gen Z, and we think this is what's going to be standing the test of time as this generation comes in and controls share of voice, share of wallet, share of spend, is they want agency. And boy, does that pair nicely with the Web3 offer of being trustless. They also want iconoclasm. They see these systems and these crises that they are inundated with, and they know these systems don't work for them, and they have the power to tear it down themselves. We saw that during the GameStop meme short squeeze. They took control, jumped on a Discord, and actually collapsed a venture capital fund on their own. And wow, that really works in the value of being immutable, things living forever, wanting to come together to build something that has permanence, that doesn't consistently not work for others. They're also efficient. And wow, that would be great if we could really realize the value that Web3 promises of composability, being able to have things work interoperably. I have to say these words slowly. And then finally, community, and probably the most talked about. But what this really means is decentralization in its truest form also brings along diversity, equity, and inclusion. So whether you're talking to consultants like McKinsey, art houses like Christie's, Guy Oseary, who's sitting on the board of the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, but he's also the agent for U2, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Madonna, or producers like Timberland, and trust me, I talk to and I'm on text message threads with all of these people. They will all tell you that they believe truly that Web3 still represents the largest shift ushering in a new economy. Now, I have worked for accelerated technology companies. I've been at Google, I've worked at Uber, I've been at PayPal and Venmo where I helped put crypto into the PayPal app. I'm watching us move from the shared economy to the creator economy. And I really believe that the true essence of the creator economy can live on blockchain, which offers them to control their destinies in this new owned economy. So I think one thing I want to leave you is the most important thing I believe about Web3 and why it was so interesting for a brand like Adidas to come in is because this is where communities who actively participate and have deep passion and fandom can be cultivated. It's because the technology has features baked within, and when we use it properly, it enables those active communities to thrive and rewards them for going off and doing the brand advocacy on behalf of us and the creators that we partner with. And let's be honest, sport is all about active participation. So millennials, and I'm sitting on the cusp, I'm a millennial, right on the edge, older edge of the millennials, if you will, right at the edge. And the generations older, we were okay with the grind until you die. This generation is not. Gen Z is a new breed. They have updated values, they want a more relaxing and fulfilled life, and the reality that they see in NFTs and in blockchain is that they want to make cool shit, cash out, and live a chill life. And if you embrace the Web3 promises, it can enable that. The other thing about them is they do not live in the offline and the online worlds. They do not distinguish digital from reality. It is just life. There are people that will tell you, and kids that play games, that when they score the game-winning goal in FIFA, it feels as deep as an accomplishment as when they've got their high school diploma. There is no difference to them. And we've proven that by looking at the brain and how the brain receives information of what you do in-game and in the real world. It feels the same. It creates a memory that you can come back to. And because of COVID and the lockdown that happened and this acceleration of needing to make communities and have social contracts and meet new friends online, those online friends where you can jump in and out of even more niche nuances around your personality are sometimes even more influential and important than your real world friends. And of course, you want to know what youth say? Youth says it's even more important and more influential than their own parents. So who do we build for? We're building for collectors who honor heritage. We are a 75-year-old sports lifestyle brand. Heritage is intrinsically important to us. And another thing that we learned during our research is that Gen Z, this is the first time they actually like and respect their mom and dad than previous generations. And when I heard that insight, I was kind of blown away, because that means that heritage brands who have archives like us now have an ability to make that relevant for a younger generation. And we can use the folks who've been with us on our previous journeys to help us pull in and tether in this younger generation. And secondly, we're after communities who actively participate. And what do we want to give them? Ownership, an active role, and freedom of expression. Now, in order to do this, it's going to really make a mess out of your organization, especially a big democratic or bureaucratic organization like a DAC company that Adidas is. So who did we have to bring on this journey? It starts in-house, and it always starts with the people, and it always starts with the D-gens who get an idea and just won't let go of it. And we found D-gens sitting in legal, treasury, tax, in operations, and so we were able to have these difficult conversations over a course of 9 months to plan our path in, because at the end of the day, we were putting 3 stripes and an Adidas trefoil, our most beloved IP marks, on an open ledger with no precedent before us about who legally is going to own these things when you put it on a blockchain. So we've had agreements for how we're going to give people rights, like commercial rights, how we're going to co-create with them, and how we're going to use our brand marks and our iconic designs, how we're able to give people royalties and remuneration for co-creating with us, because now this is new business models we can create with partners that we didn't have access to before. It also allows us and forced us to start building community first. So we're not just using social media as a channel to push out advertising and commercials. It's truly a two-way dialogue. So of everything I've learned, and if there's one slide, I've put it up. This is probably the most important takeaway, is understanding the 5 paradigm shifts. And we've used these as a lens to help get our approach right and keep us true. These took us a long time to get here, so screenshot it. It's my gift to you. And if you want to be part of this movement and you want to WAGMI in this movement, you need to know that community is the new influencer, ownership is the new sharing, collectors are the new audience, collaborator is the new consumer, and bonding is the new access. So let's move from the theory into the practice. And there's a lot of people who say they're experts on Web3, and please don't believe them. We are all students on this journey because we are building something that's never been done before. And that's why it's important to get involved and do the work. But it's also important to make sure you align your values with why you're in this space in the first part. In March of 2021, we organized an internal team called the Metaverse Task Force. By May, we developed our strategy on how to enter, and we used the 4 Cs: consumer, category, company, and culture. By July, we presented our vision to our Chief Digital Officer and to the SVP who heads up Originals. And we were saying, look, this is really about a collective, and this new era of iconic brands are going to be defined by the quality of the communities that they cultivate. And as long as these communities would collect your products, your services, and experiences and feel they have an active stake, they're going to be so brand loyal and connected to you that they're going to help move you into spaces you can't go on your own. We're now a fully funded business unit who oversees digital goods, on-chain experiences, and gaming across the open and closed metaverse environments, like Roblox and Fortnite, just to name a couple. We have a robust community of over 20,000 living in 137 countries. We have a full-time moderator team of 7. And by now, we have landed Sandbox. We have a 3 Stripes Council. We've done events all over the world. We're up and running. One of the things I'm most proud of when I talk about community is our issuing of soulbound tokens to connect us to some individuals that were voted in to what's called the Adidas 3 Stripe Council. These are advisors that were voted in by our Discord community of 20,000. So their peer set saw their contribution and feedback in the Discord, and they said, yeah, I think these people should become a filter for what Adidas is putting out into the world. So we work very closely with these individuals, and here they are at NFT Paris, organizing themselves. But these truly are our own community advisors. Don't call it a DAO, but it certainly has governance rails that kind of operate like one within a centralized organization. We've also launched a program called Residency, and we launched this in Seoul, Korea this summer. It gives artists the most important thing that they crave is discoverability. We use a big spotlight, and let's be honest, there's probably no bigger spotlight like one like Adidas with a big platform, thousands of stores around the world, very engaged social channels, and we're putting these artists in the same sphere as Grace Wales Bonner, Jerry Lorenzo, Bad Bunny, Pharrell Williams. And one example is we've pulled an artist and plucked them right out of our own community. Their name is Roz, where they did an open and closed edition that we launched in Berlin, giving him a very big platform, helping to drive new revenue for us, because now we're selling artwork that we never co-created, and we get to curate a new gallery space for them in our own channels, and we're going to be rolling this out further. And so who knows, maybe we can find the next Yeezy this way. These are just 3 examples of the virtual gear collection we launched. These are fully on-chain. They're going for $30 US up to 30,000 US dollars. The promise of interoperability should mean that if you hold one of these 16 hoodies, you have the ability to wear it on your identity, whether that identity is going to be walking into Gaming World, Sandbox, Decentraland, wherever you want to go in the future. So that would be our plan and our hope for these types of products. One thing I don't think that we knew at the time is that people want to collect the entire range. That was something that surprised us. There really are a deep inherent desire to own all these pieces. Another thing that we're building is a first of its kind auction mechanic that's now available in Adidas sales channels. Now, when you're a company like Adidas, your business model is that you sell clothes, you sell apparel, sneakers, right, accessories. And then those clothes might go off and have a second life on StockX, Depop, eBay. Our business never makes money on those secondary sales, royalties, right? So that was an opportunity for us to say, you know what? We're selling these at an MSRP or an RRP, and we're limiting our ability, and mostly our partners' ability, to make money, and that's going off somewhere else. So what if we move those auctions onto our platform to give the creators more funding for the drops that they're doing instead of pushing it onto secondary marketplaces? So that's the reasoning behind why we're doing this. And we've done 3 drops now, Montclair with Bape, and the one we just launched last week with Bugatti. All of these have an NFC inside the product connected to an NFT. We would really like to see exchanges reward secondary revenue again. We think that's an important model that's broken in this ecosystem that was a promise. But the belief there is we can start to teach people to hold on to things longer and to be able to trade them and to buy things that are going to have value built inside. So it gives us more profit, it gives us more margin, and we think it's also going to reduce some of the, let's say, waste or the overconsumption that's going on in the space. Let's watch another video.
Vamos, Karen.
One of a kind. With Sonny, everything's brown. Nobody's faster than the kid.
Okay, so you saw just a little bit of if you know, you know. One of the balances we're trying to do here as a mainstream brand is not overhype ourselves. But this is the Adidas World Cup advertisement that went everywhere. And we put our Bored Ape Indigo Hertz on the cereal box, and we didn't say anything at all. And then we had Benzema wear the tracksuit that I'm wearing today. It was in his closet. It's actually the only product he wanted to take off the shoot. So that was pretty humbling for us to see and exciting to see. But when the community saw this and discovered it, that's when the internet exploded again in the space. And then we delighted them further by video mapping this on the tallest building in the world in Dubai, the Burj Khalifa. Community saw it, they responded again. They started making their own iconic stunts. They started making their own cereal boxes. And that's the fan content, this earned media wave that is just like so possible when you lean into these niche communities. Collaboration, we're on this journey, like I said, with the alts by Adidas, and every single creative step of the way, whether we're developing how you're gonna get into this space by issuing keys, what's the mechanic, the vending machine, what types of traits they're gonna get, what's the feature of trait swapping? All of these ideas came from the community. So we're collaborating with our own Discord to bring the concepts and ideas they have into our art direction. So we're literally making the creative director our community and collaborating. Now, I talked about bonding being the new access. These events were not funded by me whatsoever. I didn't have to go through any hefty approvals whatsoever. These were co-created by the community who at this place knows the brand so well, is so deeply connected to us. They are protecting it, and they're basically funding their own meetups and community group events. So this is something that happened in London. This is something that happened in Amsterdam. We even have someone who's doing their own radio show just following our own journey. These are all unofficial initiatives. And finally, community art. This is what speaks for itself. And I want to say it was like a couple days after we launched our drop into the metaverse, someone created the meme, WAGMI, with the Adidas trefoil. That sold the next day for 72,000 US dollars. But what's grail to a marketeer and to a brand is when other people make art on your behalf, because it keeps you relevant, it renews our brand in fresh ways. And it also, it's a conveyor belt of content we would never be able to fund to produce ourselves. So imagine going through the legal departments and the approvals I would need for this. It would never work. I'd have to get the person who owns the identity of Courtney to give me approval to use Courtney. I don't have to do that. The artist has done it themselves. So these are just some examples of things that we've seen. Now, the founder of Adidas said this quote, and I like to put this up because I think it's so important to organizations and to the growth of nascent and new spaces. Those who are against new development or the testing of new things should not hinder those who are willing. This is hard. We're building in a really down market. But I will say, what I do not run into in my company, and when I do, I throw this quote up, are the defectors. And if I do run into them, I just stop meeting with them. So in short, please don't stand in the way of a good idea. And if you don't understand it, no, you do not have a right to stop it. You have a right to get involved. You have a right to ask questions. But you need to embrace the idea of empowering your teams to continue to explore. And I do believe still Web3 is a movement. I believe it might be a bit underground because of some complexities, but there's power in the ability for Web3 to put updated values into commerce, commerciality, and most importantly, pop culture. So I hope you've learned something today. I hope you left a bit inspired about what we're doing, and I hope you join us on the journey by either jumping into our Discord or grabbing an Adidas NFT and just continuing to walk the walk with us. So thank you very much.